What's going on, guys? Vista here, and today I want to talk to you about reloading, how the mechanic works in the game, how I suspect it'll work in Battlefield 4. I don't foresee him changing too much on that. I'm starting off with the M16A3. This is kind of the basis for several weapons in the game. They're all the M16 or AR-15 platform. If they're the same caliber, you could use the magazine from one gun right in the other. The lower receiver of the guns are pretty much all the same. But we'll get more into the mechanical side of things a little bit later in the video here. But I want to talk to you about the animations a little bit. What's going on inside of them, how they work, what your player is actually doing as you perform the animation. Now, we're all familiar that there's different times for reloading your gun. If you have at least one round or a partial magazine, there's a specific reload time. If you have a completely empty magazine, there's a longer reload time. There's also a third component to the reload animation, and that's actually a time that's set as a threshold for you being able to swap to your secondary weapon. For the M16A3, if you have a partial magazine, at least one round, that time's going to take you 1.80 seconds to reload. If you have a completely empty magazine, it's going to take you 2.37 seconds to reload. You know, quite a bit of difference there, especially when you're getting shot in the face by somebody. The threshold time for being able to swap to your secondary on the M16A3 is 0.85 seconds. Not a whole lot of time, but I don't know about you, but it's explained a few of the deaths I've had when I was crying hacks on somebody. I was just stuck, wasn't able to swap to my secondary because of the timing in the game. But anyway, if, like we said, if you fire and you reload with a partial magazine, that's 1.80 seconds. If you mag dump, reload, that's 2.37 seconds. Now you notice there's a difference in the animation. He reloads, back on the weapon. If I mag dump, reload, you'll notice something else involved. He slaps the side of the gun. So guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you to the real thing and show you what's going on in these animations. Well, here it is, guys. The M16A3. Not really. This is the AR-15. This is the civilian version of the M16A3. It costs a whole heck of a lot of money and a ton of paperwork to get the M16A3. A little more than I've had time or the money to invest. But this is a real firearm. Extremely similar to the M16A3. The internals are slightly different to allow for full automatic fire. This is semi-automatic only. But let's talk a little bit about firearm safety just briefly. I'm not an instructor, but there's a few things you should always do, like verifying that your firearm's not loaded before you handle it. This is a empty magazine. My ammunition is stored in a separate part of the house in a locked container. And we'll just verify that there's nothing in the chamber. Chamber's empty. So, this is my AR-15. Just like in the game, all kinds of accessories. I've got the flashlight on there, the foregrip, red dot sight. One of the cool things about real life and not a video game is you can slap on all the accessories you want. You know, in the game you're a little bit limited, but you know, real life you can use all your tools. So anyways, guys, let's get back to the reloading animation. What's going on there? Why is it that if I have a partial magazine, he just slams the magazine in and goes on back to firing, but if I run this magazine dry, he actually slams the magazine in and slaps the side of the gun, and then you can continue firing, which gives you that discrepancy in reload times. So what's going on there? Basically what's happened is, as you fire this gun, this bolt here is manipulated back and forth with the recoil of the gun. It's gas operated, blows it back, comes forward, puts a new round in, and you can fire away. So when you run the magazine dry, meaning no rounds left in the magazine, what happens is there's a little catch back there that locks the bolt back. You see there that the bolt didn't come forward again. That's because this is an empty magazine. So to be able to fire the gun again, I need to get this bolt back into battery or in its forward position so I can pull the trigger and fire another round, which in turn the gases will blow the bolt back. Comes the spring in the buffer tube here, we'll push it forward and allow it to grab another round, chamber the round, fire, back and forth. That's pretty much how it works. So that's what he's doing when he slaps the side of the gun. If you look over here, this is the bolt catch, or ping pong paddle it's sometimes called. I actually have a little extra device on here, accessory, that allows me to manipulate the bolt release without having to do that slap animation, similar to that. It actually is over here by my trigger finger, so when I come off the trigger, I can manipulate this up and down here. So when he slaps the side of the gun, that slams the bolt home. That's the difference. When you run this magazine dry, at the end, this bolt's going to lock back. Otherwise, if it didn't and I slammed the magazine in there, it has no way to get this bolt back because you have to fire it and use those gases to blow the bolt back. And if I can't fire it, I can't do that. So it's got the mechanism in there to lock the bolt back. And when I slap the side of the gun, that releases it. That's basically it. That's why it takes longer to reload a empty magazine than a full magazine. Just as true in real life. I've got this neat little device. It'd be kind of cool if Dice threw that in the game. It's kind of unlock, faster empty mag reload. Little hint there, Dice. But that's basically it, guys. That's the AR-15 or M16A3. That's what goes through in a reload. Empty reload, fire away, or full reload and release the bolt. So that's it, guys. That's why it takes longer to reload a empty magazine than a partial magazine. It's simply releasing that bolt. If I do a partial magazine, I don't need to release the bolt because I already have a round in the chamber to blow it back with the gases. If I mag dump, I got to go through the reload and release the bolt. That's the discrepancy in times. So basically, guys, that's going to be this similar animation here is going to be for all your AR-15 or M16 platform guns, which is your obviously M16, A3, A4, the M416, the Recon's M417, and the M27 IAR for the support players. They all have extremely similar designs. They're all built off the same platform. And if you take the time to dig through it, their reload times are extremely similar. Now your AK platform guns, which makes up probably another third of the guns in the game, they are really similar to this. You're going to see that partial magazine where he just flips that magazine out to the front and stuffs in the new one. And if he has an empty magazine, he's going to have to release the bolt. You'll see him slap the side of the gun. It's all the same thing on all your guns. It's just releasing that bolt. Now let's go ahead and move on to pistols. Talk about the reloading for them. Okay guys, so as you can see here, I have the G17C semi-automatic pistol. I believe it's based off the Glock pistol. Really popular firearm design, but let's take a look at its reload. There's a partial reload, just stuffs in another magazine. Full reload, a little bit different. Pretty much as fast, but you'll notice something's a little bit different in the animation. You notice that bolt's locked back, or the actual slide on the top of the gun. So let's talk about what's going on here. So here it is, guys. A firearm is extremely similar to the G17C. This is actually a Springfield XD in 40 Smith & Wesson. Similar, just a different manufacturer, almost nearly identical in operation. But once again, we're going to verify magazine's empty and check the chamber. Chamber is empty, firearm is unloaded. Pointed in a safe direction, finger off the trigger. Safety first, guys. But what's going on in that animation? What it is, you have a pistol magazine, you've got another one on your belt. Fire partial, he drops out the empty or partially empty magazine and uses the mag release right here and inserts a fresh magazine. What happens? Same as the M16 or AR-15. You know, it's gas recoil operated, so it takes a round in the chamber to fire and move this slide back, which then comes forward and chambers another round, pull the trigger, fires back and forth. Basic mechanics of a pistol. So what happens? Partial, the slide is in the in battery or forward position, and he chambers another one and can keep pulling the trigger because he has that round still in the chamber. If he goes empty, same thing, it now has a mechanism inside to lock the slide back. Now with the Glocks, DICE actually got this right. When you insert the fresh magazine, it actually can release and push the slide forward. Otherwise you have a slide release right here, which you push and releases the slide back into battery or forward position. You can also, if you lock it back, you can actually pull back on it and release it forward that way. Several different ways of training, but that's what's going on. That's why it takes a little bit longer to reload that empty magazine versus the partial. What's happening? The guns have to lock back in their rear position so that when you insert new ammunition or a fresh magazine and release that slide, it can chamber another round so it can keep firing. That's how semi-automatic firearms work. But that's basically what's going on with the pistols. You know, there are revolvers and things in the game. I'm sure we're all familiar with how those work, having cap guns when we're younger. He's actually got to push the cylinder, you know, release it, push it out the side, feed in 6 individual rounds or however big the cylinder is, and slap that back in. No way to do a partial reload on those. You're always going to have a full reload on revolvers. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and head on back in game. So, like we discussed, guys, there's a difference between a partial magazine reload and a full magazine reload on all semi-automatic firearms. Like I said, your bolt action and your revolvers, things like that, they operate a little bit different where you're manipulating the bolt because they're really just kind of one shot at a time. Semi-automatic, pull the trigger, it goes... slide goes to the back, goes forward, chambers another round, you're ready to fire again. So that's basically about it for today, guys. I want to say a special thanks to everybody that's subscribed to my channel and liked the Facebook page so far. Getting a lot of support over there at Facebook. If you haven't already subscribed on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it. If you liked the video, guys, give a thumbs up. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. And as always, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.